Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentledem, it is I, Dave Makes Noises. Just wanted to take a second to remind you to please check out our subreddit, r/MrRipper, where we marinate many of the mighty myths that make up much of the media on this monument to Mordenkainen, Matt Mercer, Mountain Dew, and math rocks. If you're a DM or player looking for a group, please consider checking out Mr. Ripper's Group Finder Discord server, a massive community purpose-built to get you rolling them bones and hopefully generating sweet, sweet stories for you to someday share with us. Today's video is brought to you by our dear friends at Reroll.co. Thanks, Reroll, for supporting the channel and keeping our characters inspired. Trigger warning, this video contains stories depicting violent, fictitious content within a tabletop gaming scenario. Please use your discretion before you choose to proceed. Thank you kindly. Now, D&D players and DMs alike, what was your most violent moment in a campaign? Part 1. So I'd like to start this story off with some backstory of the characters in this story. Cool story, bro. First and foremost, the campaign we were in was the Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign, which we eventually changed to Homebrew. This occurred a few months ago when the campaign started. Now, this campaign, and for 3 others, were our first D&D sessions ever. The DM decided to have 7 people in the campaign, even though it was built for 3 to 4, if I recall correctly. Most of the people in this story don't matter, except for 4 of us. A human cleric named Kaldwin, me, a Scourge Aasimar warlock named Ivan, a Goliath fighter named Frank, and finally, our nutcracker themselves, a fallen Aasimar barbarian named Nightmare. Now for Nightmare and I, this was our first time ever playing D&D. So naturally I go with a lawful neutral alignment, as it seems to be a decent starter alignment, while this fucking madman over here decides to go chaotic evil for the first time ever playing D&D. Legend. Now, with the backstory out of the way, let's get into the story. Also be advised, minor spoilers for the Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. In our first session, we were all in the Waterdeep Tavern. A minor fight breaks out between some troublemakers. We deal with them fairly quickly, nothing interesting. Then a troll emerges from the giant sewer entrance in the middle of the tower. Naturally, we all get into attack position. The fight ends up to be not really good going our way. I keep missing the troll, everyone else isn't doing much damage, etc. That is until Nightmare gets a perfect idea. I wish to cut off the troll's testicles. You want to what? Listening for the DM's response. Okay, roll to hit. 16. Oh lord, okay, roll for damage. 5. The troll's testicles are sliced off with one swing from your sword. The troll clutches its now empty crotch and begins to whimper, everyone losing it. Next turn. I wish to consume the troll's testicles. Okay, now this may be taking it a bit. No, we need to see how this plays out. Okay, but I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw for illness. Nat 20. Oh my fucking god. Okay, you take out the troll's testicles from your bag and eat it in one giant gulp. You don't even chew it. The texture is terrible and it tastes awful, but it does scare the troll quite significantly. Everyone howling with laughter. Soon after, we ended the session with the troll's defeat. Now, fast forward 2 sessions and we are in a sewer looking for a gang hideout. Eventually, after fighting through some goblins, we interrogate a bandit. He tries to run away and we fail our rolls to tie him up, so he runs away. Nightmare then in the hallway stabs the bandit in the testicles. The bandit crumples over, crying about his testes being stabbed. We eventually get him to tell us about his boss, and he mentions where they are. Afterwards, down a hall, we find a big room with a mind flayer, an orc, and the mind flayer's pet, and they have a hostage we have been looking for. Eventually, after talking, the mind flayer leaves and has his pet and Lieutenant Orc try and stop us. We defeat the pet pretty quickly and just have the orc to face. Nightmare, in their brilliant mind, decides to befriend the orc and aid him in murdering us. He instructs the orc to shoot a fireball at me, but misses, thankfully. Eventually, we defeat the orc, and now Nightmare has to face a quite pissed off party. I opted to just beat his scrawny ass and be done with it, but everyone else had different plans. Hey, this was just a joke. Don't kill me.
Oh, I'm gonna kill this little bastard.
Yeah, I'm in. How do you want to do that? Hey, wait, this isn't needed. We already have him beat. Let's just go. Frank and Ivan proceed to ignore me and kicks them onto their back, and Frank holds a sword over Nightmare. We don't need to do this.
I'll flip a coin. Heads they die, tails they live.
Coin shows heads.
Well, seems like they die.
Frank plunges the sword into Nightmare's chest, killing them almost instantly. Now, the reason I was so hesitant on doing this was, 1, because Kaldwin was against the murder of unarmed people, and 2, because it was his first time playing, and I didn't want it to be over for her first character just like that on the 3rd session. But it turned out to be all good. We all laughed about it, and he made a new, not chaotic evil character, and the campaign is still going with his new character in it. Now, the moral of the story is, don't have a chaotic evil as your first player character in a good guy campaign, ever, or else Nightmare the Undead Cockslammer will teach you a lesson. As mentioned earlier, today's video is sponsored by our good friends over at Reroll. Reroll is an app that gives you the power to create and customize your D&D characters in a really cool 8-bit pixel art aesthetic. And indeed, it is very aesthetic. Just look at it and see for yourself. You can check it out on web browsers, iOS, and Android. In fact, Reroll has an ever-growing selection of races, armors, outfits, pets, and weapons. And since we last checked in about this awesome app, the developers have added a ton of really zesty new backgrounds. Check out this spicy number, and this spicy number, and this you get the point. There's a lot of them. Reroll includes standard 5th edition SRD content with the app, but they make it super easy to upload content from other sources to customize your character sheet, and all to your play style. If you don't want to build a character sheet and just want to design something, Reroll's got you covered for all the visual inspiration you need to start conceptualizing your next character and an easy and pretty interface. Check it all out at www.reroll.co. Link is in the description. Thanks again, Reroll, for supporting our videos and our community. We love you so much, and we love where the app is headed. Now then, back to it. My Fearbolg Barbarian went into a combat unarmed, so when he killed the first guy, I asked if I could rip off his arm. I passed my strength check and then had an arm club for the rest of the combat. I've never held hands with a weapon before, but it was certainly interesting to kill the other minions with their friend's arm. Later, I used a guy's head as a flail by holding it by his long hair and used another guy's body as a semi-shield after I chopped him in half. Got my axes back by that point. That's pretty barbaric. Party Cleric uses shape water to part a small pond, like Moses parting the sea. Our party approaches through this godly partition, and the Cleric uses thaumaturgy to shake the ground and intimidate 2 were-tigers. He yells with a booming voice, "Bow down to your god, or we will smite you down." Our Warlock uses Sickening Radiance on their whole camp, and I use Plant Growth to make the entire area overgrown. The were-tigers try to escape at this point, but the Cleric uses Hold Person on both were-tigers. Now they are paralyzed, in brambles, taking Sickening Radiance and Exhaustion, and being attacked by a bear I summoned with Conjure Animal. The Warlock and I proceed to piss on their bedrolls and campsite while this is all going on. Our Cleric drops Hold Person and decides we are now torturing the were-tigers for information about their leader's location. After no answer, he smashes one of their heads in with a mace, killing one right in front of the other. The fighter then makes 3 to 4 rounds of successful rolls to keep grappling the other one, and we begin scalping him alive with a magic flame sword until he talks. Eventually, after being brutally tortured, we tie him up and crucify him on the front of our Triceratops mount by stabbing the horns right through both of his arms. We rode to the nearest city, avoiding his camp, with him tied up like that, and made sure to keep him alive too, just in case he was lying about where the other 14 were-tigers were. Player decided to carry around the dead body of the guard they killed on a spear as an intimidation tactic. They stabbed another guard and ended up with 2 of them on the spear, and then proceeded to throw one of the bodies at another guard. While the other players were either fleeing the battle or battling to the death, this character skinned and decapitated the body and then stripped down to basically bathe in the blood of their enemy. They died soon after by running straight into a horde of guard, completely naked, covered in blood, and armed with nothing but a spear and a bloody head. Okay, so I don't know if you would classify this as violent or not, but I say it because it was more of a one-way fight. Well, I played a character that did not die, but I stopped playing original because I thought it was too OP. Forgot about that, and then first encounter I was part of with that character, my character killed one and pretty much cleaved into another one, killed them. I could have made another attack because I had one more attack action I could have taken, but both those attacks were just my first attack on those enemies, so I chose not to. Edit, they were not damaged also. Hey, did this person and the person before last, are they the same person? Playing a Dragonborn Ranger, and we were facing off against a pirate who had killed a player character in a previous session. I got the killing blow, and I described that I shot out both of his kneecaps, ran up to him, and very calmly and quietly told him, "Killing him was your first mistake." I pull out the sword of our dead friend. "Not killing us was your last." Then I slowly and very deliberately slid the blade through his neck, eyes locked on his the entire time, until I chose to rip the blade out the side of his neck. Fuck you, Captain Blackclaw. More like D-Captain Blackclaw, am I right? Ow! Nailed it. One of my players was playing a chaotic, evil, half-orc barbarian with serious rage issues. He had a lot of extremely violent interactions. His name was Dine, and this moment cemented him into our D&D history. He has actually become a recurring character in our campaigns, usually as the big bad evil guy. I was running the Sunless Citadel module when the party came across Meepo, this really weak, skittish kobold. A quick intimidation roll made Meepo tell the party everything he knew. After the info dump, he asks, shaking, "Is there anything else you want to know?" Dine's player looks me dead in the eyes and says, in character, "Yes, what your insides look like," and proceeds to gut Meepo and leave him for dead on the dungeon floor. R.I.P. Meepo. My lizard folk cleric of the grave was sneaking through the water to save some NPCs from a band of trolls who were using them as a sacrifice for a massive dinosaur, the same dino who killed my clan, as the DM informed me. The rest of the party didn't know my character was in the water with the druid. They thought we were waiting for them in other places, and they started to fight the trolls. In the process of saving every NPC, a troll landed near me in the water. So I told the druid, "You got this," then proceeded to swim to the troll, initiating a grapple with my bite, and forced him to stay for the next 4 minutes underwater, drowning him. Also made a barbaric show of how I decorated my pond with the animals the party promised me for my services, and how now it holds several altars of Kelemvor made with chicken and pig bones. Chippy chip chirah, my cherished little chicken nuggies, and thank you for watching this video to the very end. I hope your make-believe bloodlust has been sated by the events that have just unfolded. I want to take this opportunity to just once again thank our sponsor for today, Reroll.co, for supporting the channel and our community. Check them out in the description below. Love the app. Love what you're doing with it. I just wanted to also remind you to please check out our subreddit, r/MrRipper, if you want to share your stories with us. And as always, you can share the most violent stories you have of D&D in the comments below. If you're a DM or player looking for a group, please consider checking out Mr. Ripper's Group Finder Discord server. We migrated the D&D stream and cast to Twitch. Rip Daddy will be joining us there when he's all done building his love shack, studio in his backyard. Check out Fire and Dice. The link is in the description. And if you love me and want me to be happy, please check out my website, www.davemakesnoises.com, or my Instagram, Dave Makes Noises, for all the exciting music and podcast things I have going on. What have you learned from practicing awareness this week? Let me know in the comments. That's all for announcements, my friend. Please sub for Nat20s. Tell somebody you love them today. I love you. Rip Daddy loves you. We all love you here at Rip Daddy's house. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you on the next one.